Wallace, thank you for being here and on short notice. Right now, we're at a undisclosed location here in Houston in a hotel. I brought you out here because I know you're doing a lot of great things here in the community. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to kind of introduce yourself for people that may not know you.
Well, first of all, yes, my name is Wallace Jones. I was born and raised in Texas, mostly in Willis. I lived all my life in Willis, Texas, Montgomery County, and joined the military in 2006. Left for 6 years, came back, stayed with my family because I had a couple of kids, and now I basically opened a nonprofit. And at first, it wasn't a nonprofit; it was for profit. And I was like, man, I can't take money from these kids, so I changed it to a nonprofit. It was first a private nonprofit, now it's a public nonprofit charity. And I'm trying to help all the kids I can with sports. It's a youth sports program. I have about 4 teams in basketball, 1 to 2 on football, and I'm just growing every day. The difference between me and most other organizations is I want to help the community. I'm pushing the kids to go out to the community and help out, feed the homeless, shelters, stuff like that. And in my eyes, what they do outside of the court or off the field is more important than what they can do on the field or on the court. And that's because that's how I was raised, to be a better person. And I want to instill that to the youth and help them raise above everybody else and get where they need to be.
Right. And you mentioned community outreach, and I know today you were actually out helping the homeless through a program. I believe it's called Hoodies for
Healing.
Hoodies for Healing.
Hoodies for Healing, yes.
Can you kind of tell me about that?
So we went out there. They do it every Sunday. They just go out there every Sunday and just feed the homeless. That's underneath the bridge in downtown Houston. We went out there around like 8:30 this morning, waited for them to come out and set up and everything. We helped them set up, and the homeless would stand in the line and wait for us to finish up, and then we'll basically serve them hot meals. There was about 80 volunteers from different organizations, as well as the Hoodies for Healing, and including mine. And then there was maybe 100 homeless people that came and got some food. And it took about 30 minutes to feed everybody. It was nice. It was different, like it gives you a new sense of how the world is,
right.
And I've been around the world a lot. I lived in Germany for 3 years, went to Oklahoma, went to Iraq and Afghanistan. I've seen, things, but just my community, even though it's not Montgomery County, it's Harris County. We do a lot of games out here. We do tournaments in Harris County. So helping Harris County with things like this, with other organizations, it definitely brings a new perspective, with what's going on.
So how this, your company's name is Dragon's Breath?
Dragon's Breath, yes.
How did that get started?
So the name came from actually the artillery side of the military. So I was artillery, and when you shoot the howitzers, there's a huge ball of flames that come out. And that our slogan for that was Dragon's Breath. We shot Dragon's Breath today, So I was like, what would be a good name for this company? I was just thinking, and then all of a sudden I was looking through my pictures from Iraq, and I saw one with the howitzer being shot and the flames and stuff, and I'm just like, Dragon's Breath. That would be freaking awesome, So I was like, I talked to my wife, and she was like, yeah, that would be kind of cool. So that's basically how it started with the name and everything.
Okay. As far as setting it up, what kind of challenges did you face? Or how do you even start something like this?
Well, me personally, I didn't have nothing. I didn't have any money to start it or nothing like that. But I did, with the military money that I get every month, I took $500 out of it. I will go set up an account so that way I can get this started. And they were like, oh, you can't do it without, LLC and stuff like this. And so $500, that's basically all I had. And then that was it. And then I started posting stuff on Facebook, doing some videos with my son because my son loves sports. And I was like, you know, I'm going to help as many kids as I can. So I posted Facebook, my neighborhood especially, and I had a young lady reach out. Her grandma reached out to me and was like, can you help my granddaughter? I was like, yeah, I can help her out. What she want to learn? Basketball. I'm like, oh crap. I'm a football player, you know, like I played basketball, but I never actually played with the school and everything.
Right.
Or coached it. I coached baseball. That was the only thing I was coaching at the time. And that was because of my oldest son. And I was like, yeah, I'll help her out. I'll learn. I'll figure it out. So I took her out to the neighborhood tennis courts. And my son came every once in a while. And I showed her drills, taught her how to bounce the ball, stuff like that. And then she came up to me and she was like, she wants to learn soccer. I'm like, oh, crap. I never even watched soccer. You know, like, I'm not going to lie. I never watched soccer. I played goalie. That was the only thing I played, and that was recess. Mm-hmm. And back then, you had recess through middle school. Now you don't have recess at all in middle school. Yeah. So I played a little goalie. I was like, you know, I could teach her. So I looked up some stuff, you know. At the time, I was going through Sam Houston State University, mm-hmm. and I was being taught how to coach. Mm-hmm. And so I took her out to the fields. I was like, this is how you do it. You know, these are the things we're going to learn. And then next thing I know, the basketball program was starting to grow a little bit more. And then I was like, I need a gym. So my wife's best friend, Sandra, they own Mike's Pet Solutions. And he used to spray for the owner of the gym that I'm using now. And their name is Rod, last name Rod. And, hey, well, can I give your information to him? And I was like, yeah, go ahead, you know. So I reached out to him, and they're like, yeah, you can use the gym. So I was like, sweet, because I was paying $40 an hour to use, at the time, the high school gym or the middle school gym. And it wasn't working for me because I didn't have no money going into the system. So they're like, yeah, you can come use it for free for now, and then we'll go from there. I was like, all right. Started using that, and then my first high school student came in. His name is Jace. He wanted to learn how to do point guard. So I was helping him out. I brought a couple coaches in to help out as well from the school itself, from Sam Houston. And next thing I know, I looked up, and it felt like forever, but it wasn't. It was like maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I looked up and had a whole high school team. You know, they were bringing in people. Jace would go talk to this guy, and this guy would go talk. And it's a word of mouth for the kids. And I had a whole team. I was like, you know what? I need to put them on the court. I need them playing. And I met a really cool guy. Last name's Williams. He owns Wolverines, basketball organization out here in Conroe. Mm-hmm. And we started talking, hey, can we do some tournaments together? You know, so I joined their league. They had a whole bunch of people come in. We started playing and stuff. Not going to lie, first game, Jace wasn't there. We lost horribly. I'm like, man, I got to figure out how to get them, you know, going and stuff. So the whole season, we lost every single game, bro. Every single game. I'm like,
what kind of point differential are we talking?
Oh, man. First game, it was like
you let out a big sigh.
Yeah, it was like 70 to like 5, maybe. I don't even remember anymore, man. Like it was horrible. When I first played the Wolverines themselves, they're like, it didn't end. The first game we played, they stopped it at halftime. It was like, you're never going to catch up type deal. I was like, dude, I can't do this to my kids. Let's just keep playing. So he was like, let's play. It was like 90 to fucking, I don't even remember, 90 to something. It was horrible. And then Jace finally was able to come in and play with us again. And, of course, you know, with the people that we had to find that connection.
Yep.
And with him bringing in extra people, for instance, Dominic, he's a three-point shooter. He's our shooting guard. He came in and started shooting threes and stuff. The last 2 games, you could see the improvements of the team and the connection, the cohesion. And the very last game we played against them, we beat them by 30 points. it was nice.
What was the difference in these 50-point differentials and actually beating them? What kind of strategy did you use when it came to coaching? Was it a mental thing? Was it a technical thing? Was it several different things at once?
I would believe it was several different things. Cohesion was one of them for sure, because they didn't understand each other, and that's really big in the sport. So you got to understand your players. Even as a coach, I didn't understand the players.
Right.
I didn't understand how they thought. Nothing. All right. So that's the biggest thing, but you also have to think of like how they play, what position they play. If you don't put them in the right position and understand the player to put them in the right position, they're going to fail. And
is that something that you kind of see as they kind of exhibit the way that they play in whatever position may be the wrong one and put them into the right one? Is that
exactly
pretty much it?
That's the best way. That's the best way to explain it.
Right.
And at the time I was doing this, I was also helping a volleyball club, coaching with them, and I would see the same thing. Like, oh man, you're good at what you do, at setting and everything, but you would be better at this position.
Right.
And
do you ever get any like pushback on what kind of position they want to be and where they should be?
When it comes to the athletes, not really.
No.
It's more the parents.
Right.
But
right.
It's okay because, for instance, that lady that I'm talking about, she plays for a different organization now. And the spot that I wanted her to play, she plays that spot now.
Right.
And she's amazing at it.
Right.
And like I comment on her Instagram all the time, like, you're doing a great job, and I talk to her friends all the time, like, I see y'all doing great, I'm proud of y'all, stuff like that. So yeah, once you start seeing them play that position, or that they will be good at that position, they usually don't falter. It's usually other people that falter.
Yeah. So you were playing, you were telling me that you were playing football. You told me a couple minutes ago, but where were you playing football? Because that's kind of where you started all of this, right? You got into soccer, you got into basketball, you got into volleyball. What's your history when it came to playing sports? Was it at Sam Houston or?
I tried out for the Sam Houston team when I first got out of the military, 2011, but I didn't make the team because I was injured. Like,
what position?
I tried out for defensive end.
Okay. So
in high school, that's what I played, defensive end. I also played offensive guard, but I was better at defense. I love hitting people. That's my forte, is hitting people. I love putting everything on the court or on the field and just express my anger, because back then a lot of crap was happening,
Right. It was a nice legal outlet.
Exactly. You don't have to worry about getting in trouble unless you do something stupid like take off your helmet, But things have changed since I played football. A lot has changed.
Right.
So when
you mean you personally, like it kind of sounds like anger issues.
Possibly back when I was younger. Yeah, possibly. But my kids, like I understand now that I did have anger issues because my kids have it.
Right.
And I always tell them, the best way to release that anger is not by punching a wall.
Yeah.
It's by getting into a sport. My oldest son plays baseball. He used to love baseball. He don't play anymore, but he loved it. And he took his anger out on the bat, hitting the ball. He would hit it and just run. How do
you think that happens? How do you think, because you probably start to notice things from your parents that they had that you notice and now that you have, and now you're noticing that your kids are kind of like you. How do you think that actually happens? Because I've said this before, a lot of people, once they come into existence, and I mean through birth, they're kind of prepackaged as a character, certain attributes and characteristics from just however they are, they just happen to, it seems, spawn into something they were always going to be. Maybe not nature and nurture, whatever their surroundings are and whoever their parents are, they kind of guide them in a certain direction. That's true. But there's a lot of people that come into existence and they have that. How do you think that happens from certain things that you notice about yourself that have transferred onto your kids? How do you think that happens?
I think they learn more than what we give them.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, scientists always say their brains are like sponges and they absorb everything, right? I think that's the best way to view it, because even though they're young and they can't talk and all they do is cry and all they want is food and this and that, but they still see you. They still understand what's going on, even though we don't understand what they're doing,
right,
or what they understand. And if they see it, they're going to react on it.
Right.
They're going to do what you do. And, you know, you see these videos and photos on Facebook and everything like that with the dad giving pieces to the child or the mom giving pieces of their body to the child. That's the same concept. You know, they learn off of you. They feed off of you. It's not just, you know, food that they feed off. They feed off your energy. They feed off of everything. And a good example of that is when a dad is a coach, and this happens a lot. It even happened to me. But if you're coaching your son and you're throwing everything you learned out just because you want your son to be better than everybody else, they feed off of your energy. And if you're yelling at them like, you suck and you let him beat you on the line and blah, 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 like they feed off of that and they break down. And I still see it today. Some coaches too, they break down and they get worse and they get worse and worse. And it's a mental thing. And they learn off of what you're giving them.
As a coach, have you ever caught yourself maybe leaning into that kind of behavior?
When I first started,
yeah,
definitely.
It's just frustration, right? You're not sure how you can make them a better player.
I would say frustration for sure, but not understanding as well.
Right.
Now I went to school and start, you know, learning more about the psychological side of sports and psychological side of coaching and stuff like that. So that kind of helped me understand my players.
Right.
And with that, I was able to step back. Okay. When I first started, I didn't know much at all. None, actually, of actually coaching a child. And now I can, not just me, but my players can say that I've changed. I've changed for the good. When my 15U team's playing, I sit back. I let them play. I don't yell at them. I don't tell them what to do. I let them play. And they, I would say, ring up like 50 points a game, you know, like by themselves. They already know the techniques. They already know how to play. They already know plays, period. Why not just let them play? If they mess up, yeah, you could tell them. Don't yell at them. Like, hey, dude, hey, you messed up right there. Remember the form. You know, just tell them straight up, remember the form. I had a player that would miss threes and he'll freak out. I told him, just breathe, man. You'll be all right. Just breathe. He went back out there, swish, swish, you know. So it just depends on not just the coach, but the player too. They feed off of you, you know.
Through your experience, or rather your inexperience of knowing how to not only technically coach them, but mentally coach them so they can kind of synergistically become a better player and become a better person as well. Is there anything surprising along the way that maybe parents, not necessarily in the athletic world, but just being parents, is there something that you can transfer from that kind of training? Maybe a tip that you would give somebody, something that you learned that was very surprising that you still use to this day? Because you mentioned something important, and that's pretty much getting them ready, you know, in the training camps, in the days before the actual event, whether it's you know, a basketball game, football, volleyball. You prep them and you let go of their hand once they're there, and it's up to them. They sink or they swim, and
Exactly.
that's the part where you're saying, you know, it's also on the player. They also have to take everything that you've given them, all the tools,
and put it on the. Yes.
Would you say that's one of the most important things?
I would definitely say that
when it comes to, I don't know, giving tips to parents, because there's no playbook for parenting. You know, I haven't had that experience, but I listen a lot, and that's what they're learning. They're learning just like everyone else. There's no blueprint. Would you say that's one of the parts to kind of let go and let them take over and then trust them?
You definitely need to trust them, especially at a certain age, because as a parent, you taught them everything you know that you got learned by your parents, or vice versa from schools, whatever case may be. Yeah. But at a certain age, it's time to let them go. Yeah. My motto basically is we give our athletes their own wings to fly higher than ever dreamed. And that's because I feel like when you're following in the footsteps or following the shadows of your parents, you can't get around them. You can't fly over them. You can't be better than them. And I'm a huge example of that because I always did what my dad did, in a sense. Okay. I did change a lot when it comes to financials and stuff like that. I was always broke when I was a kid, but I did see myself and I did see my dad in the mirror a lot of times. And just stepping away from that will you can see your kids more as a kid or as a better version of you. But if you don't do that, you're always going to push the worst version of yourself to your kids.
Yeah. And I think people kind of hearing that example is going to drive a lot more people to want to join Dragon's Breath because, you know, a lot of people are a product of their environment. And if you can translate that and kind of lead by example and kind of do everything that we've just discussed, you know, to make them not only a better athlete, but ultimately a better person. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
No, it definitely don't.
You learn it through experience, you learn it through hardships, and there's nothing more unifying than competition in sports, you know, with your team and friendly competition. That just it's a recipe for a great human being all around.
Exactly.
Something funny that you told me prior to the podcast was that you were actually an actor.
Oh.
I just wanted to kind of hear a little bit more about how that went, because I've had actors on this podcast before, and you know, actors to me are a special type of individual. It's someone that can kind of envelop another person. You know, you're pretending to be something else on cue. So there's something special that a lot of people don't naturally want to do. Get in front of a camera like we are right now and just, you know, play a part. How did you get started in that?
Actually, one of my good friends, Hooven, he posted online that he needed some help with a film that he was doing. So I went out to Galveston, helped him out with the film, and some actors didn't show up for this short film. I was like, you know what, I can do it. You know, I'm just playing the evil villain. You know, I had long hair.
Nothing
back then.
Too crazy.
Yeah, I had long hair back then, and so I was like, you know what, I'll jump in, and I had fun. I liked it. You know, it was different. So after that film was done, I kept working with him. You know, I went out with him a lot and helped him out with filming quinceañeras and weddings and stuff like that, and he just kept me involved. But his film got out on Amazon. It's called A Lonely Woman. And in that movie, I got shot a couple of times. And during the movie, I met the younger actress for the main actress. Her mom got me, started being my agent, so to say. And she got me a couple acting gigs. Not volunteer, basically go in, try out, and leave. And I was like, man, I can't get anything, you know? So my wife was like, at the time, I'll help you out. So I got some more gigs, and I was able to get on Free State of Jones. I was able to get on My All-American, which are two big films in Hollywood. And I met Matthew McConaughey. I met Aaron.
All right.
Aaron Eckhart and stuff like that, and got to eat with them and stuff. And it was interesting. It was different. You know, whenever I met Matthew, we were walking. It was Louisiana. It just got done raining. Everybody was getting stuck on the way out. But I was walking down to the truck, to my truck, and he was in front of me. I didn't know who it was. And he slipped. he almost fell and busted his butt, but I grabbed him. I picked him up. I was like, oh, hey. I was shocked, What is it called when you're in front of him?
Did you recognize him right away?
Yeah, as soon as he turned around, I was like, oh, crap.
Maybe. I mean, Mr. McConaughey.
Yeah, the only thing I was starstruck, and the only thing I could say was, I'll see you in the big leagues, or I'll see you at the big top, or something like that. I don't even remember anymore. I was so starstruck, I didn't even know what to say. And I walked past him and went to the one of the trailers before I walked to the truck, so I can give him the uniform. And I walked to the truck, and I noticed that everybody was getting stuck because it was a mud pit, man. It was disgusting. And the truck that I had was a 2013 Chevy Silverado. It was when the rear axles first came out, when it hit a certain spot, they both spin. And so I got onto the grass. I started going. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm the only non-4x4 that's getting out of this mud, and everybody else is getting stuck, and they have 4x4s. I'm just driving, and all of a sudden the bus pulls up, and a kid jumps out in front of me. I'm just slammed on my brakes, and bam, I was stuck. I was like, son of a! I was like inches away, So yeah, I had a lot of fun doing acting. Yeah, it was amazing.
Is that acting bug still in you?
I would say so, in a sense. I thought about going back, but like all my connections, they're all doing their own thing now, and I don't know. I'd rather just keep with the sports and hopefully get the kids where they need to be and just step away.
Yeah. So I guess right now you're playing the role of a leader, of a mentor for a lot of people that really need it, because what else would they be doing? They'd be on TikTok, which has now been banned as of today or yesterday.
But is it true though?
Yeah, I checked. I checked. Where's my phone? Oh, it's recording. But if you're listening right now, within the next 2 weeks, it's January 19th, and you open it, it's going to say it's been blocked. But there is a note on there that says, thanks to President Trump, they're working on a way to reinstate it. So you'll probably see this video on TikTok sooner or later. But for right now, it's definitely gone. The Dragon's Breath, I know right now you're working on a facility of your own where you can have, all these divisions of volleyball, soccer, everything all in one. What kind of a vision do you have for that?
So the biggest vision I have is basically a 2-court system for basketball, to where, since the basketball is the biggest program, they have more than one area to practice in, and I can also bring tournaments involved. A football and baseball field outside, but I also want classrooms inside the court system, to where if you're homeschool, you can come in and do homework before you go to practice, or I can eventually start a school myself, a private school within the facility, to where they don't have to worry about public schools. They can just come to me. So
how did you even start that idea? Because I don't think I've ever heard of a youth sports facility with a private school. How does that even start?
The biggest private school like that, I would say, is IGM. Okay. And that was started by a professional football player. Okay.
So this idea does have a blueprint.
It does have a sense of a blueprint, right, with my foundation.
No, I'm saying, is there a private school / athletic complex?
Yes, there's a couple of them out there. That's the main one that I know of. And I've been through his system and read all of his stuff and stuff like that. And
what kind of a curriculum do you have to follow? Is this like a homeschool kind of curriculum, or how does that work? Because I know, Texas public schools, they all kind of follow the same. They follow suit with, whatever the.
So when you're a private school, you don't have to follow the state regulations. When you become a charter or public school, that's when you have to follow the state regulations. I've been working with a couple educational people, from Sam Houston, one that's on the outside. Mm-hmm. And we have like a sense of the curriculum, and there's a lot of business, financial stuff like that within the curriculum for younger age groups, because once you get to a certain age, you need to know finance. You need to know how to spend your money or even collect money.
So you're going to introduce things that are not normally in public schools, like how to file your taxes that you have to do every year anyways.
Yes.
Like things that are actually going to help you.
Those classes normally come after.
What about the Pythagorean theorem? Is that going to be a part of the?
Man, I don't know, man.
Because I haven't used that once. But anyways, you're going to kind of. It sounds like to me the curriculum is going to be getting you ready for all aspects of life, things that you're actually going to use,
and getting ready for college and stuff. Like,
right.
For instance, my Dragon's Breath Youth Sports, we're in the process of creating a scholarship program. Mm-hmm. Within the scholarship program, it's teaching their kids actually how to fill out a scholarship for college. So it's the same, it's side by side. Okay, when I first started college, I have no idea how to apply for scholarships. It took me a while to figure it out. So what's going to happen is the parents have to fill out, finances and stuff like that. So like what a athlete would do for college, and then the athlete has to write a 1-page, depending on the age, of why they deserve the scholarship or what they can do with the scholarship, so forth, so on. So that way they're not only just writing and keeping their momentum in school, but it helps them get ready for colleges.
With a project this big, I mean, this is really ambitious. Having a large complex like this, 2 divisions of basketball, the private school aspect of it. How you told me you started with $500. It seems like in a monetary type of way, it's going to be a huge project. So when it comes to, and this is anybody, the hotel we're in is a part of a big network, I'm guessing, of investors. How exactly do you get? What kind of a plan do you have in order to get something like this off the ground and become reality? What kind of a strategy do you have? And if someone wanted to invest in this, what would be something that they could work with you to, for both parties to kind of benefit?
So investing wise, I would definitely say like the way I would help the investor would basically pay them back like most investors plus a percentage, of course. But that would be through like the sports complex type deal, because that's the biggest investment I need, that in the school, of course. But I would do the sports complex first, then the school after that. Sponsors, we are a nonprofit, so sponsors is the biggest thing that we rely on, as well as like the registration fees and stuff like that, because the registration fees pays for uniforms and tournament costs and travel pay and this and that. Right. But sponsors help with getting the facility ready, getting certain equipment or certain teams to nationals. We're trying to go to Kansas City this year, so with that being said, we're trying to raise $20,000.
What do you mean you're trying to go to Kansas City? Like as far as like tournaments?
Yeah, so there's a big junior NBA tournament in Kansas City that we got. I got an email from them. Hey, why don't you come out? Type deal. Mm-hmm. We got an invite, and once I got that, I sent it to the kids right away. I was like, hey, do y'all want to do this? They're like, yeah, let's do it. Because this is a big opportunity for them. Something that a lot of these kids don't get is an opportunity to go to a different state and see how that environment is, see how they play and this and that. They're all stuck in Texas.
Right.
At least from what I've seen so far. I could be wrong. So I'm trying to raise $20,000 to get them there. So that $20,000 pays for hotels, pays for a van or a bus to take the team there.
Food,
everything, mm-hmm. And it even helps with, community outreach as well, because some of that has to go in with the community, so that way the kids can be seen outside.
Do you currently have some sort of either a GoFundMe? Do you have a website? If anyone is interested in kind of helping in making this a reality where kids can become a well-rounded person, not only athletically but mentally, is there anywhere whether a website or anything else that people should know about that they could donate to?
So my website, www.dragonsbreathsports.org, there is a donate button on there. They can just go on there, donate however much they want. It goes through a third party, which is called Ziffy. And they're really good for nonprofits and stuff like that. So if they just go in there, donate however much they want, it automatically comes to me. Sponsor-wise, they write a check. Of course, on my website, there's the address. Write it out to Dragon's Breath Youth Sports. Send it out to the address that's on the link.
Yeah. Is personally, I'm not sure if you want to hand out any of your information. My last podcast, I told them don't put out your email. You may be getting emails that you might not want, from random people. But is there any place where people can contact you directly, whether they want to speak to you? Maybe not go through the website itself, but maybe whatever questions they may have, or any way to contact you. Is there any place that people should go, or should it be just done through the Dragon's Breath Facebook or
anything that has Dragon's Breath Facebook?
You're going to be connected to it.
Yeah, I'm going to be connected to it. No matter what, I will always get the messages personally through my phone, through my computer, whichever way it comes down.
Wallace, this has been a really good conversation as far as what you're doing and how we can make this grow. And I hope the next time we get together, we're going to be inside of the Dragon's Breath facility, and we can see how some of these kids go on to bigger and better things, big leagues, maybe even go professional. So
yeah, we're going to do our best to get these kids into college.
Yes, sir.
There's a couple of them that want to go to LSU, A&M, and stuff like that. Sent out emails already to the coaches and the staff members and everything. And I'm in the process of making videos for them, so that way they can, the recruiter can see me now. So that's what I'm doing right now. That's really, really amazing that you have a place for these kids. Who knows what kind of direction that they going through a program like this, as opposed to whatever else was going to happen with their lives. So you're literally changing lives. So thank you for giving me a couple. I don't know how long it's been. It's been 39 minutes, but when we get back together, I hope to hear more progress with Dragon's Breath. So thank you for being on this our 5th episode of the Fourth Dimension. If there's anything else you want to say, the mic is yours. There's really nothing else to say. I hope y'all go at least purchase some merchandise, maybe possibly. It's on my website as well. Just go to merchandise.
What was it again?
www.dragonsbreathsports.org.
Thank you for listening. Visit the website, get some merch, and we'll see you next time.